Hey Al, how you doing?
Hey, Robbie, good to see you. What a crazy day today, right? Facebook's down, Instagram is down.
Wow.
What the heck?
We are
All from.
controlled. We are controlled by Facebook.
Yeah, we need to have alternate ways to communicate. Just an example, I was trying to get a hold of our guest,
Yeah.
which is John Cuppi, and I just realized that I didn't have his phone number, so I scrambled, asked people, and finally got his phone number, and finally got the link for the live stream to him and all that. But I was depending on Facebook's Messenger to do it. So
Yeah.
this is an eye opener. We need to definitely diversify the way we communicate for
Right.
sure.
I thought I had an answer because I thought, no problem. I'll use WhatsApp. Same company. I thought, okay, I'll use Instagram. Same company. They've all been down all day. I mean, literally, probably within the last 30 minutes. I saw Johnny pop up, and Chris and some other people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. So we need to make sure that we get another kind of messenger, something on the side that we can communicate with people, that
Yeah.
are in our groups and all. So anyway,
Yeah, Twitter actually might work better.
yeah,
Maybe we should move over to the Twitter platform. All right, so tonight's guest is John Cuppi. We're going to be talking FPV and everything around FPV, but we're going to leave it open for discussion. But basically, our discussions for tonight are going to be about, what are the differences between the air units with the Polar Pro versus the other DJI camera. So those are the important things that we need to outline. And also wanted to see what John is doing with his FPV and his long range flying with the FPV fly. He's using the Flywoo stuff. So anyway, enough talking. Let's bring John in and have a good time chatting about his adventures with FPV.
okay. Tell you what, let's go ahead and play his intro real quick.
Sounds good to me.
FPV and you're considering going digital, or you're thinking about, should I go with DJI FPV? What are some reasons that you might not want to go with the DJI HD FPV system? I'm going to preface this by saying that I've had the system since early 2020. I have thoroughly enjoyed the system. This is my DJI Marmot build that I fly all the time. I also added the Flywoo Explorer, so I've been doing some nice range kind of style flying with this thing. And I gotta tell you, I've gotten tons and tons of enjoyment out of my system. But some things have changed. There's been a lot that's changed actually since I made my video regarding why I love the system and my overall experience in it. So things have changed in the hobby, things have changed in the world. I mean, there's a lot has happened. So let's discuss some of those things.
Yep,
So
there we are, Robbie. Let's discuss some of those things. Let's get into it.
Robbie, Al, thank you guys for having me.
Hey, John, thanks for
Good to be
joining us. It is really good to have a discussion. This discussion's overdue. Obviously, in the FP world, Robbie, you're moving into that side of the world. You've been flying your little Emacs stuff. And Emacs is a very good gateway into FPV. I mean, I started that way with my Tiny Hawk. And then I went to the freestyle, and John, you had similar experiences. And then, I moved up to the Emax 3.5 inch, the Baby Hawk 2 HD. Beautiful
Yep.
bird, by the way. That thing is so quiet that I don't mind flying it around parks that have people in it because it's so quiet. It doesn't attract that much attention. You know what I mean? I'm very careful about it. But
Al,
if
you got lucky, right? You bought the one with the Nebula Pro, right?
yes.
That's
Of
the one
course.
I wanted.
And I misplaced and all this stuff that I have around here. I misplaced one of my Nebula Pro, Caddick Vista Nebula Pro. So there's $200 flying around here somewhere. I
Oh,
need to
don't misplace that. That
I
may be
know.
worth even more than $200 the way things are going right now.
I know, right? And so, guess what I just got, John? Look at this. This is the Pro,
You got
the
the
Polar. You see that? And that's the air unit. And then this is the Caddick Vista. But one thing to note, guys, look at the new housing or the new marketing spiel that now is coming out of Caddicks, right? So before everything was white. Now, let me see if I have the white version here, John. I think I do. Yeah. See, before, this is what, I haven't even cracked the seal on this one either. So this is previous one, which is actually a very good camera, and it better than that Polar camera. So, John, what did you outline the differences and similarities between, let's say, these two units here?
Okay, so this is really great. So the thing about the Polar camera is, and this also applies to the Runcam MIPI, I hope I'm saying that right, as well as the new Phoenix HD camera that came out. Here's the thing that people need to understand about the cameras that are coming out right now for the DJI system. They're mainly stopgap solutions because they are not an equivalent to what we had before. And Al, one of the biggest differences, you mentioned it, I think, is those cameras only do 60 FPS. The Polar only does 60 frames per second. The original camera did 120 frames per second. Another big difference is the latency, okay? The Polar can't be run in low latency mode. So you're going to have a minimum of what does it say on the box? I think it's like 32 to 40 milliseconds, right?
Yeah, versus 25 to 15, I think, what we had before, right?
Yeah, that's about what we had before. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 28 milliseconds with the Nebula Pro and the original DJI cameras. That is a significant downgrade. That's a huge downgrade. And a lot of people just don't even want to fly their DJI system if they can't get the original cameras because they just can't get used to it. It's really hard to go from 100. Anyone who plays games or PC games at 120 frames per second versus 60 frames per second will understand that difference because it's huge. It's big.
Al, read the chat.
Oh man, Al, maybe we can move your mic more away from your mouth. Okay, it's popping sound.
It was a little loud,
little
but
poppy?
I wasn't sure.
Okay. That's exactly the feedback I need. Hope this is better. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Al, the other camera you have there is a Caddx air unit setup, right?
Yeah, so this is the Caddx air unit here. I do have the
Polar. That's the Polar.
But I do have the one with the Nebula Pro.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's in my garage in a
But I think
build.
you had the Caddx Micro up with their air unit as well, right?
No,
you just showed me that. I think.
There was
what was that?
It was just a Polar.
Oh, it was just the Polar. Okay.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know. It's hard to see a lot of reflection from my lighting.
Because the Caddx Micro with the air unit is actually a recased Nebula Pro, which is fantastic.
That's actually a decent camera,
and it's in stock. But the problem is, you have to buy the camera with the air unit. You can't just buy the camera. So, spending $200 every time just to get that camera is not really good situation. I don't know why they can't just sell that Caddx Micro camera standalone. Why do they force having to buy it with the air unit? It really just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know that one of the videos that you made was, you did a naked GoPro. I think it was what was it, 5?
I got it right here.
Yeah. Remember how you went and showed everybody how to make a naked GoPro?
Step by step, the whole thing.
Yeah. Do you just need to have, what is it, a GoPro 5?
You can do it with a 6 or an 8 are really the preferred GoPros to do that with. Tons of 6 and 8 kits out there, and now they've got 9 and 10 as well. But I don't know about tearing up a GoPro Hero 9 or 10. That's a little expensive.
I would tear up my 7.
Yeah, you could do it on that one too.
I would tear up my 7, but I wouldn't want to do it to my 9. But what I was dovetailing this conversation to was that I bought the little Peanut. I don't know if you've heard about that little Peanut.
I have, and I sort of regret buying the Insta360 Go back in July.
Yes.
Yeah, because now they've got the Caddx Peanut, and I had asked Caddx about the Peanut back in end of June, and they were like, yeah, we don't know when that's coming out because of the chip shortage, so it's pretty much delayed indefinitely. And I I was like, oh, well, I guess I have
no.
to get the Insta. And then now it finally showed up. So.
Oh man! So
Yeah.
a very nice camera at all, but the Peanut was just designed. So let's see, is it Get FPV? You can get it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Peanut was very specifically designed for FPV. It's got that extra cable that gets power to the camera from the drone. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I've actually thought about possibly selling my 360 Go and then getting the Peanut. I'm a little on the fence though, because I have the protection plan with my Insta360 Go too.
Okay.
As far as I know, you can't get a protection plan on the Peanut. If you break it, you're kind of just SOL from what I read around. You're gonna have to find another way to get a protection plan for it. So I'm kind of
Yeah, I was looking at the web page, just kind of give people an overview of what we're talking about. The web page actually has some pretty decent stuff in it, Robbie, if you don't mind. Let's see.
The ability to press record from the controller, like Fly Zone drones. It's really, really nice, man.
Yeah, so the kit comes with all this stuff here, guys.
And filters come with it.
Yep, and you get the 3 kits that you could install into your quad, so you could just designate a UART to stop and start the recording. So, and the little cable right here is magnetized. You can see right there's a magnet that works. So I actually pre-ordered it.
What I'm hoping for, Al. I know that by itself it doesn't work. Like you can't, like the regular Insta360 Go doesn't have a groove on it to lock it in magnetically. It just kind of slides around. What I'm wondering is, and I'm hoping that those good with a 3D printer out there can maybe make this happen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's got to be a way to make a 3D printed brace to hold that thing in place, or a cradle that we could put our original Insta360s to make that happen. Robbie's shaking his head. He sees it happening too. I really hope it can happen.
Yeah, maybe
if you shave down that groove, that plastic, you can make it mate. It just won't hold.
Let's see, Insta360. Let's see if
anybody comes up with something like that. I would love to see that.
There's definitely a lot of housing out there for the Insta360s on Thingiverse
something
from
that can
Printer.
hold that little connector in for those of us who have the. Because that's all. That's really all you need is just something to hold it in after you shave down that groove.
Well, you got a lot of pages to go through in Thingiverse to try to find it. Looks like I'm already on the 6th page, so yeah, it looks like it's doable, John. Definitely doable.
I would hope so. I would hope. I'm hoping for. I'm hoping somebody comes up with something. So far, I haven't seen anything yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Doc
hoping so
too. If I have a build in something yet, do I have what in a build? I'd love to answer that.
You're probably talking about the latest build. I know that you've been having a really good time with that Flywoo and your, TBS Crossfire. You got a Black Sheep TBS Crossfire on that version too, right?
Yeah. That's what's on the Flywoo Explorer, right?
And you use your Tango 2 on that. What do you use for your RC?
So this is my little Insta360 mount. I've actually put the naked GoPro away lately in favor of running the 360 on this, just because I really don't want to break it. Not that I crashed this thing, but I'd rather save the GoPro for like really, really good footage if I'm trying to do something specific.
Yeah, agree, Michael. You can't go wrong.
I was chasing my friend's wing, FPV wing, with the 360 Go on there, and when you're chasing somebody, you gotta be a little careful. There's always that risk that you're gonna collide with something, and I just rather not wreck my naked GoPro for that kind of flying.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as soon as I saw the video, I subscribed to Nurk's channel. He's always one of my favorite FPVers, besides Joshua or Bardwell, but Nurk is one of my favorites.
Now, John, I had one question. I want to interrupt you, but before I forget, I know there's a lot of people now that are having drones built. They're talking about which GoPro to use on them, the 7, 8, 9, stuff like that. And I was told, don't use the GoPro 8, use the GoPro 7 instead. something about when it breaks, they can replace something in it where they can't do that in the 9.
Yeah.
Your lenses are replaceable.
I've got one right here.
Okay.
The problem is no lens
lens
replacement.
No
you
lens
can't replace the
replacement,
lens. Yeah.
Okay.
Where
For
on
a naked
the
GoPro,
7
though,
you
the 8
can.
is fantastic.
You can
The
just
8?
twist it off. Yeah.
Okay.
For a naked GoPro, though, the 8 is fantastic, and the reason why is because, well, first of all, hypersmooth on the 8 is actually pretty damn good. If you're just doing casual stuff and nothing commercial, honestly, the hypersmooth is excellent. The other thing about the 8 over doing a build with the 6 or the 7 is the 8 has what is called the GoPro Labs firmware. And GoPro Labs firmware lets you change the camera settings using a QR code app through GoPro. So,
wow.
There's no, when you take it out of its case, you can't change the settings anymore unless you already have it linked to your phone. If you get a new phone or your phone breaks or something like that happens, you lose that access to change the settings so easily. But with GoPro Labs, you're set. It's so cool what GoPro has done, where you just point the camera at your phone or your tablet with a QR code, and bam, it changes the settings. It's super cool. I really recommend the 8 to anybody who wants to build a naked GoPro.
Yeah, I mean the 8, that super smooth. It's also very good. One of the things that I always have difficulty was choosing between wide and max wide on the cameras, on the GoPros, and I haven't seen a big benefit from going for the max wide, but maybe some of you guys.
I just shoot in regular wide, honestly. I don't mess with the max wide. But then again, I just shoot mostly casual stuff, honestly.
Yeah. Any drone list says here, I have the Hero 9, don't use it. It was going to film the ground and then aerial. How do you think that would be? Kind of like traveling guy.
Oh, man. What a dilemma, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, all right. So let me ask you hypothetical questions to not only to the panel here, but also to the audience. If you only could take one camera along with your phone, of course, the phone's included, what other camera would you take? Let us know. Robbie, let's start with you. What camera would you take?
Other than what?
Your phone. Your phone. You're going to take your phone for sure.
Yeah.
But what other camera would you take?
I would take my GoPro.
Okay.
I would take my GoPro as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the Hero 8 has a really good image. I'm pretty happy with it. The GoPros have those problems where they shut off and whatnot too. Which is really annoying. But at the end of the day, it's still a really great camera.
My 7 hangs all the time. I have to pull the battery out of it.
Let's not forget too the Osmo Action as just an action camera and not for FPV. This has been a great camera for me, honestly. I mean, it's getting a little long in the tooth. It's getting a little old, but it's a nice camera. And you get the front screen too. This has helped me on more than one occasion, having the front screen.
Yeah, agreed.
So it would be somewhere between the Osmo Action or the GoPro Hero 8.
Okay, so Sunrise Water Media is saying that he likes to shoot in 4.3.
Yes, see, he uses software called Real Steady, which, if you truly want that buttery, smooth, cinematic style video, you take video from a GoPro, and then you shoot it in 4x3, and you put it into Real Steady. That's the way you get that really nice stuff. But I'm too lazy for that, and I don't want to deal with that. I just throw Hypersmooth on and just let it go with the Hero 8.
I agree. Real Steady, you got to make sure you shoot the right way too, because you can't have super smooth on it, because it wants, all those additional files that you see with the GoPro are all the GPS and
exactly.
All
it's the metadata
the compass,
that needs to stabilize
all that
the
metadata it needs to put together a buttery smooth shot.
Correct. And Chris is right. If you want to have the absolute best video, you buy Real Steady and you shoot with your Hero 8, 9, 10, whatever the hell you're going to shoot with, and you run it through there. But
yeah,
me, I didn't want to buy real steady. I didn't want to deal with that. I just wanted to shoot, go, be done with it. And the Hero 8, the Hyper Smooth 2.0 on it, was pretty damn good to me. So that's just what I do.
Yeah, and you see what Fred was saying, and we're all talking about. Oh, that's a great segue for our next piece to talk about. I mean, we can talk a little bit about some of your long range experiences with your flywood. So,
Sure.
John, tell us a little bit what you're using to fly long range with your FPV goggles.
So my choice for anything long range is Crossfire. And Al, you got Crossfire, so you understand why. On Crossfire 900 megahertz, you're just going to be able to fly pretty much anywhere you want. Not only that, if you're flying around objects, you've got great penetration through trees, objects, all that stuff. So I'm Crossfire, and pretty much anybody that flies long range is either doing Crossfire or they're using something called Express LRS. That's a whole other category of things. But those are the two common long range thingies that people fly. And I got my Tango 2 sitting here somewhere in this mess. There she is. Tango 2. This is my primary radio. I don't even use FreeSky anymore. You see, I've got the multi-protocol module. This is what's binding to all of my little micros, my little whoops. So I'm full Tango 2, full Crossfire. I'm glad I am, because it's a great ecosystem to be in for control link.
Yeah. So, ADK Drones, Fred has been building some long range planes, and he's actually got a ground station repeater on it that gets you out 100 miles. So, and that's one of the intriguing things to me, because the curvature of the Earth prevents the signal to go through, because by the time you get 25, maybe 30 miles out, the curvature of the Earth now interferes with your line of sight. So what do you have to do is increase your altitude, either where you're flying from or the aircraft you have. So that's always interesting to me, how long range flyers were always increasing their altitude to get their signal to the aircraft. But
right. Well, yeah, that's basically a problem that you're going to have with pretty much most systems, unless you've got 4G on board. If you've got that 4G connectivity, you can go anywhere. But for us, if you go, that's why they say, if you're flying long range, don't go behind a mountain, because you're probably just going to black out, fail safe. I mean, and if your video doesn't, if your control link doesn't go, your video is definitely going to go.
Oh, I guarantee that'll be the first one to go. The VTX is not that strong compared to that.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You do. You have to be very careful with that. So
yeah. Well, hopefully, all your flight controllers set up with the GPS module, the fail-safe back home. Yes.
Sunrise Water Media says, Al, you're not a flat earther then, I guess.
Well, what did he say? What did I miss? So Al is not a flat earther then.
Yeah, none of us are flat earthers here. I believe we all understand that the world is round.
Agreed. And hey, one of the things that I just did, guys, I spent 4 days in Lake George, New York, with Fred from ADK Drones. Oh my gosh, freaking blast, dude. We went flying everywhere. John, you would have loved this mountain. You would have flown forever and ever, because since you're taking off a good 600 to 800 feet, the lake's way down below you. Your ADK Drones, how far down is the lake from that mountain we were flying at? He'll tell us here. And hey, Jake,
right now one of my favorite places to fly is around the Missouri River area. I like to go down there and I'll send a quad up, fly around there. It's a beautiful little place to fly, whether you're doing FPV or Mavic stuff. I mean, it's really just a great scenery. So
he said 16,000 feet, so it's a good freaking ways up, dude. Yeah, you could drive all the way up, man. Prospector Mountain, you could drive all the way up, and it was free because of the COVID deal. So they didn't want to touch your money, so they just let you go through.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and the water was warmer than the air, so you were getting that mist early in the morning before the sun burned it off. So it was really, really cool. I probably should grab one of my SSD drives and show you guys some of the pictures, but I know Robbie gets bored at me because I'll always post these.
That's okay.
long
We got an hour show. It helps fill it in.
Yeah, let's see it, man.
And it is. It probably is. Really, if y'all knew how much time Al put into all this stuff, I mean, a lot of people put time in it, but I mean, Al will go out on a journey for the day. And when he gets home, when I go with him, I'm exhausted.
I think I wore out poor Fred this weekend. I mean, I had him going on, man. I think I forgot to warn him.
We go with Al, and I'd be like worn out, ready to go home. Al's using his last battery, and then we get ready to leave, and he opens up a whole box. Oh, I got 6 more batteries. We need to stay. Oh my God!
Al's a full on hardcore YouTuber. He's out there. He's getting the shots no matter what.
Right.
He's getting all the footage. He's got to have all of it.
All right, so let's take a look at the colors. Let me see if I can pull this up and share it with you guys. I'll share it. Share screen. Here we go. Share screen. I guess I'll share the audio, but I don't think there's any audio. But
you'll have to. Have you flown your Femi Mini much at all by chance? Or is that
not lately. Been about 2 weeks. But here's the color changes, guys. It's starting to happen.
Oh wow.
And I have, this is straight off the Air 2S. Oh my gosh, it just crashed. I think it just crashed.
Well, we got something up in here.
Let me pull it up. Yeah, I guess it did just crash, man. I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can pull it up again. That was pretty strange. Let me pull up another one. All right, there we go. Maybe I can get it to go real fast.
Dr. says that he lives at 600 foot here in Mexico and test flies everything there that he builds.
Oh, yay.
I've got that echo on you, John.
Oh, yeah, I got that echo as well.
Oh, is it me?
But it's not for me.
Yeah, it must be Al. When you turned on this, it happened.
Yeah, the sound, dude.
All right, let me go ahead and kill it and then turn off the sound. So
I had tunnel vision there for a minute.
Oh, good catch. I'm going to stop the screen and I'm going to come back and share it again, but without sound this time. Share screen. Share system audio. No.
Doc, check your messenger, Doc.
That's cool though. Yeah, he tests all of his builds at a high elevation. Yeah, that's true. If you test at a high elevation like that, all your builds are going to fly awesome at lower elevations.
Yeah, check out these colors though, and we're 2 weeks away, and we found a couple little valleys, and in this particular shoot, Fred and I flew together, and actually he came right under my sensors, 5 feet under me, and it triggered my sensors, triggered his sensors. Man, both of our controllers were going nuts on the Air 2S. It was like crazy, man. It was like, oh my gosh. All right, let me see if we can get the icons to wake up here, and then I'll show you some of the long-range flights that we did. Some of the long-range flights were actually pretty fun.
Happy Monday, Metro Drones. What's going on, man?
Okay, so I think I've found one that we can use here that's gonna kind of give you a good depiction of what we did. Might be the wrong one. Okay, might be the wrong one. Yeah, but this is the lake approach. This is literally right out of the hotel. I just like opened the door and started flying. And this is what Lake George looks like. And I'm like minus 5 meters from the location I flew from, and I'm still like 200 to 300 feet above the lake. So you can see it's a huge lake, and this boat that you see here on the left.
Al, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, you're not seeing anything.
No, I'm just seeing the clips.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me go
There
ahead.
we go.
There we go.
There we go. Oh wow, look at that. That's beautiful, man.
Backtrack that. Do it again.
All right. So this is the location I'm flying from. Just don't hit the trees, the aspen trees, and the way out. You can literally see that I just flew from
Oh, wow.
the hotel, and
Look at the skyline.
yeah. And this was sunset, and this is I didn't pick the one Fred and I flew. I mean, we had a freaking unbelievable. Hey, Metro Drones. Hey, Bill. Good to see you.
Do you use
Mr.
any
Brooks.
ND filters or anything? Nah, I'm just not assuming right now.
Yes, I did. I used the CPL filter. That was it. Just
Oh,
CPL.
so you did use a filter for it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I actually leave the CPL filter 100% of the time on here, unless I put an ND polarized filter. But yeah, you can see that the trees that where you fly from, it's always higher than the lake, unless you're standing right there by the lake, and then you can see this is the little town right around it. But there's
Great.
got these $2 to $3 million boats that carry like 100 passengers at a time, and this is one of them right here, right there. This lake is about 40 to 50 miles. So, and one of the favorite things Fred likes to do is fly out to this Long Island out here. And I mean, he gets it. He gets on down the road. And the record for his range, believe it or not, is the FEMI 2020. 26,000 feet is how far he's taken it and back. What we finding with the DJI product line is we run out of batteries before we run out of signal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what we're running into. But you can see how very large the lake is, and the Prospect Mountain that we flew from is this. I can't remember. It might be this mountain or this mountain. I can't remember. But you can see the sunset already occurring. How pretty it is.
Very
and
impressive.
It's a beautiful lake, guys. Lake George right now is going to be popping. All these colors are going to be popping. See this building right here? That's the Marriott, and that's where I was staying at.
Wow, that's pretty.
So, and one of the things that we should have done too is had Fred fly from Prospect Mountain down to my. They had this really nice garden area up on top, this deck on top. We should have had him fly there, drop the drone. I put a new battery in, and he then turn around, fly back. That would have worked. I think it would have worked because there's no interference between this building all the way straight up here. You know what I mean? There's nothing in the way. It's just so Lake George, where Fred lives, guys, is. He lives in Lake Luzerne, which is another lake, but this is the biggest of the two. And I mean, it is happening, but I don't want to bore you guys to death, man. This is you can see, pretty stuff, and check out the guys fishing in the middle of the day. And let's see. I think I got a better shot of them. No, I didn't. So. Long range tests, middle and beautiful areas all day long. You could fly and enjoy it. Really do.
Okay, guys, we're just over the middle.
Man.
We're just over the middle of the show, and let's do a little surprise giveaway.
Yay!
Everybody's ready to start throwing their numbers up, and we're going to really throw a wrench in it today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a number between 1 and, say, 50. And what you've got to do is we don't want you to put it in the chat. You've got to go over to World Drone Community's Facebook group, and you've got to put in your shirt size, and you got to put what the number is. Not saying you're going to get a shirt, but we may throw a shirt there in with it. So in order to win, you're going to have to go over to the World Drone Community Facebook group, and you're going to have to post. And any of y'all that haven't joined, when you join, it'll let you in. Post in there, and at the end of the show, we'll let you know who the winner is.
Ooh, awesome. Hey, I finally found that shot from Prospect Mountain. Let me share it with you, and then I'll shut up. All right. Share screen. And share number 2. There we are. Right?
Quadcopters in the chat.
Yeah. All right. Prospect Mountain, guys. Here's what it looks like, man. Down below is the lake, and this is what I was talking. This is what I was talking about, and so I just,
What is that you're standing next to there?
It was a gear for this pylon there, right there, is actually like like a lift.
Oh.
It looks like Al's got his flight pack on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow! Look at that. I would love to take an FPV quad here and just cruise around and all that, man.
John, you could definitely, dive in here deep. I mean,
yeah,
deep.
And you'd be diving down from where you are, and as long as you're just looking down, I mean.
Tons of mist that day. Fred gave me a call. He was busy that day. He said, "Hey man, there's tons of mist, and front's moving through. Get up there before you can't see." Well, I walked out of there in the freaking rain, man, in the fog. Now, let me show you what it looks like. The colors are beautiful, obviously.
See, the colors are changing.
Yeah, and so this is Prospect Mountain. You can drive all the way up there. This is the road right here. You do have to hike the last 100 feet straight up. So it's probably like, it's, I don't know, 500 meter a hike. So it's a hike like from here straight up to here. It's what you got to do. And so you can see the fog is actually moving in. And but let me show you the pictures from the GoPro. I'll stop sharing now.
Okay.
And I'll find the pictures from the GoPro walking out of here in the rain. That's how quickly it changed, because I was like, I wanted to fly more, but I couldn't do it because of the rain. The fog just moved in and I couldn't do it. I mean, it was just done. I'm hoping I have it downloaded on here, and I hope I do.
ADK Drones was saying, yeah, you could surf the mountains here easily. Yes, mountain surfing is what I would love to do at some point.
Yeah, I know you
just
would.
Don't have any like right here in my immediate area.
Oh yeah, here it is. I found it, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool. You could dive.
Yeah. So I'll share again, and Robbie, you'll have to, as usual,
Sure.
administer it. All right. Ooh. You saw the road be underneath me,
Look
right?
At that.
And this is what after I finished flying, this is what it looks like.
Look at all that. Oh my God.
And this was the road that you saw in the video. And this was just 30 minutes later. And so, yeah, so that's the kind of weather you're going to run into up there. And it's good stuff, though. I mean, really good stuff. But I'll stop sharing. So
maybe Al, next time you go, you'll have a long range FPV setup to do a little tree surfing there.
Yeah, well, I did take the DJI also, because one of the things that we needed was to fly behind Fred's plane. Unfortunately, Fred's plane's VTX started whacking out, and I mean, he was lucky to get it back by line of sight, because he was going to start, womping on it, and the thing just, when I actually threw it up and he took off flying, and I had his goggles, and I'm looking at his goggles, I go, man, you're losing video really fast. I said, double back, and he came back in the circle. I go, you're not going to be able to fly with this, because
were you in the air as well at the same time?
No, but planes can loiter, and I was hoping he'd loiter, wait for me, and then as soon as I threw it, he was up, because he could stay up for like an hour.
Yeah, those planes can stay up forever, right?
So, I mean, I got lucky 12 minutes, maybe.
I have
So-
a plane that I still have yet to build. I have the Zoe HD, the under 250 gram plane kit. I've literally got it sitting right there. I've got to open the damn box and get it built. Me and fixed wing, I just don't have very good luck. I seem to break anything I do fixed wing, unfortunately.
I tell you what, my buddy down the street that I FPV with, so there's like 4 guys that I FPV with. Literally, I ride my bike to their houses to FPV. And he's got a private property, so we fly there all the time because it's
Oh yeah, that's
property.
nice, man.
You know, like Joshua Bardwell, he flies all the time. He don't need a spotter. He's in private property. So we do that quite a lot. And he was a fixed winger and a helicopter. He goes, I got this new, I'm putting a DJI system. And he's like, I go, you got to help me. He's shaking his head. No, I don't. No, I don't. And I go, and he's like, I go, why? He goes, those things break all the time. I go, I know, but I got to at least try it. And then I go, and so he's a frac shark guy, so he finally migrated to the DJI FPV system.
Mm-hmm.
And he built 4 quads exactly the same, and the last one broke.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wasn't going to reinvest into the analog system, so he bit the bullet and bought the controller and the goggles. And now he's doing everything HD. So when I showed him,
Makes sense.
I showed him go up over the tree line and look around with his polar camera he has now on his Catic
Mhm.
Vista. He goes, oh, that's what this is all about. I go, yeah, now you get it. I go, just imagine that view on a fixed wing,
Yep.
which is your Flywheel Explorer. You know what I mean?
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Right?
It's a great way to fly. I mean, you just cruise, right? You go up there, you can cruise for, well, the Flywheel Explorer can only fly for about like 20 minutes, but still, like, I almost feel like, honestly, I gotta take those goggles off my face. I need a break after 20 minutes of having the DJI goggles on my face. They're heavy. I mean, they're kind of
Oh,
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and so, but, you know, he finally, I think I have enough hook that I can set the hook on him, you know, and reel him in to help me, because now he gets the idea that, you know, it's an unrivaled visual experience with the FPV goggles, you know. I mean, shark bite is catching up, but it's not quite the digital system that we're experiencing with the DJI product line, you know.
I think that when the new Fat Shark camera, the HD0 camera drops, as well as the 1 watt video transmitter, I think that's going to really bring shark bite much farther up. That being said, though, the big difference between the DJI system and the shark bite system is that the DJI system retransmits packets. It retransmits to get the video signal back. Shark
Yeah,
bite
it's a
doesn't
lossless
retransmit.
system, right? It's basically what we see on, you know, retransmitting on over the wire with Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Come to think
Right,
about
like
it, right?
that's what TCP/IP does, right?
Right.
We retransmits. It retransmits packets.
Yeah, exactly.
The
right.
SharkBite system doesn't do that, but as a result, the SharkBite system has way lower latency than DJI. I think you're always going to get. I think you're probably always going to get better penetration with DJI because of that. But I really think a 1 watt video transmitter from Fat Shark is going to make flying with that system, despite the fact that it doesn't retransmit packets, a whole lot better. And I tell you what, that HD0 camera that's being beta tested, I've seen footage from it online. Dude, it honestly almost looks as good as the Nebula Pro. So we'll see what happens. Definitely see what happens.
Do you remember? All right, so this is the original, air unit. You see the white
That's the
even though it
Cadex
says,
version of the
even
air
though
unit.
it says Cadex, but it still has the original camera. You see that camera? Remember that big clunky camera? You remember the it what the I know it's 120 frames a second, 720p.
Right.
But do you remember the specs on it? I can't remember.
I mean, anything specific beyond that it was capable of 120 FPS and, you know, the general latency of that camera. But that kit, though, that's basically the Nebula Pro in that camera. That's not the same as the OG DJI.
Cadex Vista, yes.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, that camera is different. Like, this one is an original air unit and DJI combo. That one is a little different. But at least that one does the 120 frames per second, and you could fly it in that low latency mode. The only problem with that is, like, I wish they sold that camera in that kit separately. They don't sell it separately. You're screwed.
Yeah,
like,
because
if you want to get that, you got to buy that Cadex air unit and camera combo. And who wants to spend $190 just to replace a camera every time, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, looks like Brad just joined us, guys. Hey, Brad, thanks for dropping by, buddy. Yeah, I agreed. I mean, all right, so we only have like 10 minutes left. So, Robbie, you wanted to do the giveaway, and then we need to talk about what's coming. What do we think is coming from DJI on the FPV side, which is now Cadex, maybe, you know, and see where we're headed in that direction. Robbie, take it away.
The winner is
Who's the winner?
we don't have a winner. Yes, we do. It's Chris Waters.
Hey,
Number
Chris.
78.
Awesome.
So, Chris, I'll respond with an email address on the Facebook under yours, and when I do, email me your shipping address there, and I'll get it shipped out to you. Yeah, we're not going to make it so easy for you guys to drop numbers. You're going to support us? Support us. We'll support you.
All right, so I'm going to have a question to the community. I want to put one of these on a plane, okay? But I also want to be able to control the plane with this. So the question to everybody is, what flight controller will work on a plane that will also be able to, fly the plane with the DJI Cadex?
When you say fly the plane with it or control it,
Oh, yeah. So I wouldn't put a receiver. I wouldn't put a TBS receiver in the plane. I would just remember how we're flying. I'm flying all my builds from now on with the DJI system. I'm not putting receivers in them anymore.
Then you'll be stuck with the original transmitter that came with the FPV system that
The black
DJI very first
transmitter
put out.
that looks like the.
It looks like a
Phantom
Phantom
4
transmitter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a black.
Except for it's black. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you'd be stuck with.
Yeah, which is old and dated, but it works really good.
Is there a reason why you would want to do that though over Crossfire? I mean, like
Only
Crossfire-
because it's easy. Like you could literally just take out the unit, move from one plane to the other if you wanted to.
Yeah, I
Because
guess
it's already
so.
registered. You know what I mean? And so, but I wouldn't do that. I would definitely leave it because I have long range planes builds that Fred is helping me do now. I got the Zod Dart XL, and they just lost my Zod
Yeah.
Dart somewhere in the mail is lost. I don't know. I can't find it.
I guess I probably wouldn't want to deal with. I mean, like you could still move the air unit from system to system
Yeah,
anyway,
you could.
and have a whole bunch of Crossfire models. I mean, I probably wouldn't go that route to get that DJI transmitter out. I think that would be. I think that would just be a hassle, right? This would be yet another transmitter to manage that really doesn't do anything except for bind to the air unit.
Yeah, no, I know what you're thinking about. The only thing good about it is that you can, in Thingiverse, you can have these. Oh, here it is. Let me pull this up. Let me share that with you right now. So in Thingiverse, you can have this this kit made for you. Let me go ahead and share it. I think I'm sharing it. Robbie, you'll just have to approve it. You see how this kit is here? That you could literally just Velcro it on and then take it off whenever.
Yeah, that's convenient.
Yeah, and you can see that it's being done on a plane, so you could just move from plane to plane if you wanted to. But
that makes sense. That makes sense. But I mean,
you're not controlling the plane with it though. You're using a TBS Crossfire most likely.
Right. I mean, that's what I would do. I would just put Crossfire on there, and then making it so you can move it from plane to plane. I mean, that's a great idea, especially given the expense of the unit and how hard sometimes they are to come by.
Yeah, they are. And here's another depiction of how you could use it. This one's more interesting. It's side by side. Do you see it?
Is there a reason why you would put that one though on your plane versus the Polar? Because I kind of feel like the Polar
would be better.
Air unit combo would be better.
Yeah, it would suit it better too because you're not doing the low latency stuff. You don't have to worry about the frame rate being slow and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
like 60 FPS and and having to run it in 16:9 on a plane. I mean, you're not doing anything too crazy where the 40 millisecond latency would be that big of a deal, right?
No, and because most of the time you're going to be flying up pretty high anyway. So
yeah,
and there looks to be like tons of different kits out there. Look at that one, man.
I feel like I would save that CADX Micro that comes with that air unit for another build.
Yeah, I'm with
Fred,
you.
Fred's saying here, if you buy the TBS combo, you get the unit and 3 receivers for $120.
You do.
Can't beat that, man. Yeah, you can't beat that.
And it comes with the module, for your FR Sky, which I'm probably going to do because I already have the Tyrannus X9D, and it's just plug and play. So, yeah. I think I'm going to have to go that way, I just don't see it working with the DJI Air unit to control it because, I don't know. I mean, the flight controller, I bought the Zod Copilot Lite, and it's definitely gonna make me grow in a different direction that's gonna round me out differently. And it's good, John, because you fly GPS drones as much as you do your FPV drones, right? You like your DJI, you like your FEMA. You sold your FEMA 2020, right? You still have yours.
I never had a FEMA 2020.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had the FEMA Mini, and I sent it back. I sent it back to B&H Photo and Video. Yeah.
Okay.
It was so bad, man. It was so bad.
I still got mine. It works good. So many people got horrible ones. Johnny got a bad one. Mark.
John, what's your best drone, John, that you fly for GPS? What's your favorite drone?
Oh, the Mavic Air 2. Mavic Air 2 is my favorite right now. And if I had an Air 2S, I'd be using that too. But man, that bird is just incredible.
Well, what do you think about the Mavic 3 coming out? I mean, do you think people really are going to go for that after they've got the 2S? Because it does everything you want it to do.
I mean, look, there is a group of people who are hardcore DJI-based enthusiasts. They've got deep pockets. They're going to buy it, and, it is what it is. But I think you're absolutely right that if you really think about it, does somebody really need that new Mavic 3 for what? It's going to be $1,600 before taxes, right? $1,600 before taxes.
No, without smart controller. They're not going to get. Everybody's thinking they're going to get that smart controller, and I tell them, look at the price of the Pro 2, what it's at now. It doesn't come with the smart controller for that $1,500. So there's no way you're going to get that smart controller with it.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
another $1,000, I think.
yeah, dude. Look, I bought my Mavic Air. I was lucky. I was able to buy my Mavic Air 2 lightly used from Paul Murray over at the Canadian Drone Hub. Each of the batteries had maybe like 5 flights on it. He sold me
Dang.
the Flaw bundle for like $800.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a
so
deal.
I mean, I'm probably not gonna move from that setup. I'm more than happy with what that offers for what I do with it. And I mean, I see a lot of people just pretty much doing what I do, which is just upload video to YouTube, upload video to Facebook. I mean, I guess everyone's gonna have to ask themselves the question: how is the Mavic 3 gonna make my life better in the drone world? Is it really gonna make
Worth
things
that much money?
better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had
unless you sell everything and then buy
Yeah.
it.
I had the Air 2,
Yeah.
and then I thought it couldn't get any better. And when I got the Air 2S, I didn't notice a difference until I flew it. The screen is more bright, the camera's better, and it's got that zoom feature.
The zoom feature is incredible. My friend Patrick Sutton, who frequents all the live streams too, he's not here tonight, but he let me fly his Air 2S, and yeah, the zoom function on that thing is just amazing. It really is amazing. But even that, for me, honestly, it was something that I could personally do without for the kind of flying that I do. I mean, I was just flying.
I was going to go with the Air 2 again, but then I was thinking that I will travel a lot in Thailand around the water. I don't want to get so far out in the water. The zoom would help me keep from going out too far and run into any issues. So because of that, that's probably what I'll end up doing to get that zoom feature.
Let me bring up something else, especially
Unless you buy
since...
sorry, John. Unless you
go
buy
ahead.
the Mavic 2 Zoom, that would definitely give you that. It's
Yeah.
a little
What
heavier.
were you saying, John?
I was going to bring up, you know, with the whole remote ID thing, I think has put a big downer on any drone over to 250 grams or around that size, to the point that I'm honestly looking at that Autel Nano, getting that at some point, because I see that the Autel Nano Plus is pretty close to what I have with the Air 2. There's some things that are missing, but it's pretty darn close to the Air 2. The idea of selling my Air 2 and getting the Autel Nano and then not having to deal with remote ID is quite appealing to me, because unless they push it back, guys, remember, you're supposed to comply with it as of, what is it, September of 2022? Everyone's going to have to comply. So, I mean, I think that that's something else to consider when buying any new drone right now. Not just the Mavic 3, but anything over 250 grams is going to have to contend with that.
Have you flown the Autel? Any of them?
But unfortunately, I've never flown a single Autel.
I'll
Never.
tell you, a lot of people, we get a lot of people that ask, and, when I started the Facebook group for this live chat, I would say, hey, come join the group, and everybody make the comment. If it's only going to be about DJI, I don't want to join because all I hear is DJI. Well, the problem is people that want to get into this, it's really hard to recommend something that's not a good drone, because if they spend 50 or 60 bucks on a drone and they realize how bad it flies, they think that they all are like that. So we just have to say, look, people that got the $300 to $500 budget to buy a smaller drone can get their feet wet and see. But I mean, we've flown, Al's got like a truckload of drones. You name the brand, he's got it. And out of all of them, as far as flying it and hovering it, the DJI is just so smooth. The Femi, me and Al went out to the spillway one day and he flew the Femi, and it's hovering, and it reminds me of an old Mopar Roadrunner. It's got all this power, but it's like this when it's hovering. And
Well,
the
I'll tell you
DJI
what.
is just smooth.
The Mini Pro from Xeno, rock solid. And I do have a video of that because we just made one. Fred and I we did a range test on it. Oh my gosh. And the range wasn't that good.
Give me 1 second, guys.
But it was solid, man. I mean, solid. I was surprised how well it flew.
Okay.
Yeah, and so one thing that Hubson did well is they definitely made the Xeno
Sorry, guys.
Mini Pro a good hoverer for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just, I've only mainly flown DJI is all I've ever owned, and it just flies so smooth for what I wanted to do. Because when I first was learning, it was more of learn to keep it in the air and not hit anything, and then you start learning to use the camera and all. And I'm just
Yeah.
so comfortable. But even moving down and flying the Mini, after flying the Air 2, I'm just like, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel safe when I fly. It's like I feel like it's underpowered a little bit, and I like the Air 2 and the Air 2S.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think unfortunately I would probably experience that even with the Autel. How sturdy of a drone can you cram into 249 grams with the technology that we have today, right? There's always going to be some compromises. It just sucks because honestly, the 249 gram category only exists because of the regulations.
Right.
It's really not optimal at all. It's really kind of arbitrary, honestly. I think only Canada did some research into the safety of 250 grams, and then somehow that just became the benchmark. So, there's those compromises, as you said. It just doesn't feel as sturdy. Like that Air 2, man, that thing is solid. That's a solid bird in the air.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have that with any 250 gram quad. I really
agreed.
don't. But
And then when you move to the Mavic 2 product line, it gets even better. And now I have this quick little video, and I'll stop. Promise.
No, you won't. Go ahead, Al.
All right. So on the left is the Mini 2, and on the right is the Mini Pro from Hudson. And what you see is my tripod in the way because I'm taking pictures, and I have my chest cam on. But look, that is freaking solid. So that's it. I'll stop. I
Okay.
told you.
Well, I'll tell you, I will say, as far as is smooth, Al Skydio is as smooth as the DJI, the way it flies. But I'll tell you what impressed me the most. 'Cause I'm not a big Skydio fan because I'm not going to buy it to have it follow me through places. But we went out and we Velcroed the beacon to the top of, what did we put it on top of, Al?
Oh, we put it on top of the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah, the Mavic 2 Pro. Now, when we took off, just to let people understand how smart this drone is, the Pro took off so quick, and when it turned around to come back, the Skydio was following it and realized that it had turned. It stopped and looked. You could physically see it stop and look. It wasn't going to make the same route. It actually saw it coming back and actually turned. And I was so impressed because it was kind of like,
wow.
and then it went that way. It blew me away, but it followed everywhere that drone went. The Skydio was on it, and it was like smooth as butter.
And you can see
That's
the
really
brain
impressive.
thinking in
You,
it.
you can. You can see the brain, but honestly though, I don't think they really make a drone. A lot of mountain bikers are like, hey, I want it. I'm going in the woods. I'm gonna jump all the dirt and all this other stuff. There's too many limbs. I just feel like that they don't make anything yet that's there where it's gonna guarantee you not to hit anything. Because even flying over the walking bridge with Al Skydio, it hit the cable. Now I will say it recovered itself. But you get into a limb, you're not going to recover from a limb once it gets a hold of your prop.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that's a huge advantage to the 5-inch builds that I've been doing lately. You can definitely shred through your trees versus that 3.5-inch build that I have from the Emax, the Baby Hawk. That does not shred. the 5 inches, just goes right on through, man, and you just whomp it and gets out of there.
Brad saying here, I wonder what the Air 3S will be next year. That's my prediction. Air 3 by summer. You know what? Brad, you might have something. I mean, we're liable to get the Air 3 before we get the Mavic 3. How long have we been waiting for this?
Yeah, I know.
Been a while, right?
Yeah. So I guess we're running a little over, and probably should wrap it up. And so, who was the lucky winner again?
The
Robbie?
lucky winner was Chris. I think it was Chris Waters. Hold on a minute.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, Chris Waters won.
Congratulations, Chris. Good stuff.
Everybody, make sure you join World Drone Community's Facebook group, because we're going to stop making it so easy to give stuff away where you can just drop a number in the chat. we're going to help you. We're going to give out some good stuff, and we're going to be giving out some cool stuff as time goes on, some better stuff that we're going to be getting. But in order to get this, you need to get in there with us, watch the live stream, tell us what you think, get in there and talk with us, give us more to talk about with what we have. The World Drone community was built to help people like that are in the chat market their YouTube channels, market their channels, help educate them, educate us at the same time. We're here for the community. That's what we're here for. We're not a YouTube channel trying to compete with who's going to do the first review on something. We're here for the group. So help educate us with stuff we don't know, and we'll try to educate you with guests like John and maybe make it a little bit easier, because after starting to go into FPV and learning some of this, man, there's so many questions, your head blows. I don't have 10 years to learn. So people like John and Al and a lot of you out there, y'all can really help a lot of new people. And if y'all don't help them, a lot of people give up on the hobby and they'll never get in. So always try to get new people involved in this.
Yeah, we definitely need to mentor as many people as we can. John, you've been a good mentor with a lot of people. You've helped me out, so thank you for all that mentoring you've done with me. I appreciate it, and I'm sure hope to give something back to the community. So great show, guys. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. It was absolutely awesome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you guys out there for all the comments. Appreciate it. All right, John. We'll chat with you later, Robbie.
That'll work. Guys, we're out of here. We'll see you next Monday night. So keep flying and keep your questions coming. We'll see you next Monday night.